Hi, y'all. Well, my name is Dashaun Wesley, known as the overall founding father of the House of Basquiat. I'm a commentator, I'm a voguer, I'm an All-American walker now. I dibble dabble on best dressed here and there when I can, but that's not my forte. I like the movements, but that's me. It has grown from it being underground to where it's so explosive and mainstream. New York City is big because, that's the mecca of ballroom culture, where you'll find everything, all spaces, all corners. I say it's big now because we even have space for youth and young adults. What they call a kiki scene is not only just for youth and young adults, but is heavily filled with the youth and young adults for them to get their starting experience, or some people use that as their experience for ballroom as well. And it's grown to a space that now, we had to have a separation where there's a kiki scene and there's a mainstream scene. And the mainstream scene is just nothing but the actual ballroom culture itself, the ballroom scene. And then kiki is a space for sometimes youth and young adults, and for those who are getting started, or those who want a complete different space, or who want to now join with their friends who are possibly in other houses. Now they can come together and create their own house to have fun in spaces in different ways. So New York City, baby, she's something else. As long as they follow the same criteria that we follow when it comes to ballroom, baby, have fun. We have quite a few folks who are of Asian descent. It really depends on you as a performer, or you as a walker, and how are you going to contribute to the existing and existence of ballroom in New York. So look, you do what you got to do, you'll be fine. As long as you're following the rules and not trying to change what we already know what's happening here, then you'll be A-okay. It's a job. Now I'm trying to, even as we grow and as we get bigger in our community, I'm understanding the difference of now what it means to be a commentator, now what it is to be a chanter, now what it is to be a master of ceremonies. There's so many different things when it comes to that. As being a commentator, you have a job to do. It's not only your job to be front and center sometimes, which some people get the wrong ideology about being a commentator, because it's not only about being front and center. It's not only about having your voice being heard and you want to be seen in front of everybody. You have a job to make sure the ball runs correctly. You have a job to make sure the judges are paying attention, the crowd is entertained, the categories are flowing, and people are connected to what's going on, and you are breaking down the description, and you're chanting, or you're making sure you keep everybody connected so it could be such a successful ball. It is weird because I would say anybody could be a commentator, but not everybody could be a commentator. Yes, it looks like an easy job, but it ain't easy. And it took me years to even understand what it is to be a great commentator or MC, because when I first started, there were just about 2 to 3 folks who were highly respected and who only controlled the microphone. So I had to build myself, in order to figure out how do I contribute to what's going on, so I could be considered one of those as well too, a great commentator. But it's a big job that you have to cover, and it's not just about chanting and about grabbing a microphone and saying things on the mic. It's really how you are as a whole. A commentator comes with a lot of things. It comes with personality, it comes with style, it comes with, interest. It comes with, and when I mean interest, I'm not talking about finance interest. I'm talking about how people are interested in you and how you can find an interest in others. You have to also think on your feet. I know there's people who may have chants, or people, want to reiterate something, but sometimes you can think of something on a drop of a dime, and if you are not as creative to take something and connect it to the atmosphere, then you just got to do a little bit more work. So it's very important to make sure that you know the ins and outs of what it is to not only chant a ball or commentate a ball, but just to keep everything moving in such a good space. So it's a big job, and it's up to the person to innovate and elevate the room and also the space in the event. I found the West Village at a very young age. Me and some of my high school friends decided to take a trip out there because I knew I needed to see people who looked and act like me, because I didn't have that back in my home community. I'm from Brownsville, Brooklyn, so I didn't have anybody who look and act like me now. Yes, there were people who did look and act like me, but they didn't receive the love. You know, it was a lot of, you know, hate or negativity towards even someone who was expressive to be themselves back in Brownsville, Brooklyn, or even Bed-Stuy, because I go there too. I have some raising years in there too. So I used to be a hip hop dancer back at home in Brooklyn. But once I found voguing, 14 years old, running to the Village and seeing a crowd of people, you know, on Christopher Street, which used to be the popular street that every gay person would go to during this time. Not saying that that doesn't exist now, but that was one of the streets that you can go to and just be there all night. No one can send you home. You can just be free. We seen this guy with a big boombox, and he was playing this music, and they walked all the way to the Christopher Street Piers, and I followed them as an inquisitive young butch queen I was then, and they created this circle and started voguing, and I was like, oh wow. And there from that very first moment, I got to see who my favorite femme queen performer was, because that was one of the first female figures I got to see Vogue. And I was like, oh wow, this is it. I want to do this. And I continued to go back every day after school. I was in high school, and after high school, I would go to a drop-in center, and after the drop-in center, which is GMHC and Hedrick Martin, I would also then go to the Village for a couple of hours before I would head home for the night to do it all over again. But I kept surrounding myself around everyone who looked and acted like me, and it felt good and it felt comfortable, and I created friends and relationships, and it was so good. I'm gonna say, I've always had this voice, or what can I say, you know, going from a young boy to a teenager, you go through this space, and I went through this voice change. And when my voice changed, I had this kind of like, I didn't understand my voice when I was younger, but every time I would talk, people were like, oh my God, your voice is so good, your voice is so good. For me, going back to the Village every day, I learned that there was a person who would chant. So I was interested in chanting, and I would hear it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they call that chanting, or you would say this and da-da-da. So I would go to these drop-in centers like Hedrick Martin and GMHC, and that would be the space I would practice. I can take it back to being at Hedrick Martin, and I was very cool with some of the workers there. I'm a cool guy, so everybody was cool with Dashaun, but they noticed that, you know, my practicing with the voice would keep everybody consumed in a space so we can just enjoy each other. And they were like, you know what, you know, since you're using your voice, can you kind of, you know, keep everybody here in a space and y'all can vogue? It seemed like you got the voice, and I used to be like, oh my God, they're trusting in me with even holding the space, and I don't even work here, but to keep that space occupied. I can take it back to a space and back, like when I first grabbed the microphone for a ball, back in 2003, when I first grabbed my first mic, because R.R. Chanel, you know, the International Hall of Fame, R.R. Chanel, seen me and heard my voice and was like, I want you to commentate a mini ball that I have. It happens every Wednesday, and it was at this place located in Brooklyn, New York City. And of course I was nervous, but they realized the type of voice I held. And you know, as I said earlier, there was only Jack and Selvin, and there was Eric Christian Bazaar, you know, before, you know, him passing. You know, I had the opportunity to see them, and there was no other commentator. There was people who would try to grab the microphone, but they weren't, you know, not saying respected, but they weren't the ones who we would see when it comes to commentating. And I did what I had to do during that time and continuously put the work and was being creative just as well as Jack and Selvin were doing during that time, because they were the commentators. They were the yin and the yang. And you know, Jack is my gay mother, so it was the opportunity for them to see me grow. And then, you know, I was a part of like the three that they had going on. It was Jack and Selvin, and then I came up after as being the next commentator in that space, and not forgetting about Eric Christian Bazaar, because he was the one who was doing it before them as well too. But I had the opportunity to express myself as a commentator and an MC even back then, because they heard my voice and they knew I was myself, and I wasn't trying to, you know, be or get anything, but I just enjoyed it. And that's how it grew from there. And I took that as an opportunity for me to grow as an MC. You know, we hear a lot that ballroom is expression, ballroom is like a place where you could be safe, you could be you, but there's a difference when you are able to get away from your norm. It's not the same years ago compared to what it is now, but when I first started, it was a place for me to find out who I was. I knew I was a dancer, and I found out a style that made sense for me that I could connect to. I was able to meet other Black and brown folks who had knowledge and information that I was unaware of. And I'm glad that I started off with the people that I did, because they were able to educate me in such ways that I wasn't aware of. And I was able to make so much of the best choices now, even as an adult today. But I was surrounded by some good folks, even though times then was very rough. And that's what I'm saying, I'm glad I was surrounded by the right people. So that's why I don't think of what ballroom is. I know of what ballroom is, because ballroom is me. And ballroom can be many folks as well too. I myself helped contribute, just like everyone else who helped contribute to ballroom, with them walking, whether they're on a microphone, whether they're walking categories, whether they started houses, whether they travel outside of their own spaces. So ballroom is so many things in one. It's not only just a space to be free and to be creative. Like, we also educate folks. We also help innovate folks. We are innovative to where folks come to our space to take our ideas and bring it to bigger spaces, or people are able to get their practice here and take what they know to grow somewhere else. So ballroom is many things. So ballroom is you, ballroom is me, and it depends on what you do with the ballroom space in order for it to grow. Some people use it for personal things, some people use it for, you know, many others, but it's really up to the person and who they are to figure out what ballroom is to them. I don't think, I know. It's so interesting because everyone is so excited when they see us move and do things or create things or have categories like bazaar or voguing or runway, and how we come up with our creativity. It always sucks because we have folks who don't want to acknowledge our work or our creativity, but they want to shift the narrative. Like, it's so funny. I'm just talking about this recently, that folks take our gestures, our lingo, and they don't show us the love or give it the direct kind of appreciation of where it came from. So it sucks, but it takes the work of individuals from our community to make sure that the appropriation that's happening is being corrected, or people are not appropriating our community, or we are addressing problems and pinpoint out these problems so it can be resolved and solved. You know the difference between someone who really means it and someone who just wants it because of the notoriety they get. So it's gonna continue to happen no matter how much we don't, but it's up to us as a community to address these problems and to hit them straight on, not hit them, but hit these problems straight on, and make sure that we're still getting the respect and the love no matter how big it grows. And if you really love the community, you would do the research and find out all the information you need in order for it to continue on, and not do it because you think it's fun. A lot of people do it because they think it's cool. And I've seen a lot of dancers, book voguing jobs and never been to a ball or never took a voguing class or say that they're the one. And I've seen people even become, pioneers or they like the word pioneer, but never put the work and dedication into this community. Or people would even get picked up for a job for something that people kind of lost their lives for. A lot of folks have put their lives in jeopardy for this community. So you have to know that it hurts us the most when you don't show us love. But I want to let you know, we'll come after you if you don't show us love. And it don't have to be me, but our community is really big and it's still growing. And that's why we can know when someone's not doing a dip correctly. We can know when someone calls dips something different when it's not. So if you really love our community, you'll do the work to make sure that we'll get the love and acknowledgement that we need, rather than the notoriety that you want. I don't know if I want to give you my formula now, You know, I don't want to give my formula away about my vision for myself or how do I see, but I will say this. Again, I say ballroom is bigger than me, no matter how popular I may be. You know, it's shifted in many different years and generations. We can even see when we look at Paris is Burning, you see those who were, you know, big and popular during those times. So for me, I always have a vision of, I don't know why I have this vision of where I see ballroom, because I even see ballroom right now 10 years from now. I don't know why I see it, but I have a feeling and I see it. And the best thing I could do is be of contribution to it moving in the right way. And not to say that I hate to say this, but we have to gatekeep our culture because we're now in a space to where even our lingo is getting lost. So I don't want our lingo to get lost. I don't want our culture to get lost. I don't want our space to get lost. So even as our community grow in different spaces, I'm here to teach everything correct. That's why I'm here in Korea, to help out on the contribution of the community growing. If I didn't see that, then I guess I wouldn't be here trying to express it. But again, for me, I just see ballroom 10 years from now at this very moment. And my thing for myself is being a contributor, so to make sure everybody sees it and respects it and know that we're gonna continuously grow no matter what. I didn't create this because I felt like I wanted to have my own house and be out there. I was grown into this space and this spot to connect, and I've been teaching others for a long time even how to communicate. And the knowledge that I received even from those before me, I was a part of some amazing houses, and I had some amazing leaders in my space who taught me so much information that I was kind of destined to grow on my own space. Whether they were ready or not for it, and myself, whether I was ready or not, I still had a job to do. And I realized even for the many amount of years that I've been traveling the world, I realized I had a connection to those. So I was able to come together with quite a few folks to create a beautiful legacy, not of my own, but to help that can be added to the ballroom culture and to continue on from there. So I know usually ballroom houses started off of like, you know, what they call the Eurocentric names or like these high brand names, but it's always about creating houses that connect to you. And I created a house that connected to me. It felt better for me to have a name that I can familiarize myself with. And Basquiat was just that. And I'm happy that I have an amazing co-founding overall mother, Michelet, who was able to come together with myself and we start a legacy of our own and also a legacy to help others under us to make sure they move in a great space. I'm over this fact of saying that this house is new because we're 4 years in. So now it's like, you know, this is the house of Basquiat. So now we're applying the pressure. And I always say I am a talented individual just as well as my co-founding partner, Michelet. And one of our mottos and our vision statement is we're different works of arts, and when we come together, we're a masterpiece. And that's what I'm all about, is taking my artists, and taking different art and coming together to create this masterpiece of a house. I just love the journey that my house is having right now. I love the good, I love the bad, I love what I'm learning for myself. And you know, as a Virgo here, I love a good old challenge. And this has been so much of a great challenge and a great way for me to even learn myself, because I'm learning how to be a better leader. You know, I'm learning how to communicate with others, and I've learned how to help others grow to be the best selves that they can be in this ballroom space. And I'm glad I'm able to do that with myself and Michelet, definitely with this house. And I love the fact that I'm able, you know, I've been traveling the world for so many years, and, you know, once a part of another house, but now I have my own, and now I'm able to create, and you know, rather than going around, you know, just teaching to anyone, I can now teach to my babies. I'm able to connect to my babies. And, you know, I don't care about a language barrier. I don't care about what people don't know. What I do care about is what we can do in order to make it so much better. So this is why I love the House of Basquiat. And oh my gosh, I forgot, how do we create this? I wear my crown all the time. Basquiat skeet, motherfucker. I myself has seen this community grow on top of others, from where it was just an underground ballroom scene to where you had to know by word of mouth, to now we have spaces where people can type in one letter on a keyboard and you can get to a whole world and understand it. So definitely when I go to different spaces to see how they grow, it's just about understanding what the culture is when it comes to ballroom. And if you want to have it in your space, you apply it. Not by applying about, because I want this to be here, we want to do this, but no, the culture and the scene of the community, it's from here. And if you don't have it from here, it won't feel as natural. What I mean from here is I know I'm a great performer, I can feel it, I know it, I don't have to tell it, I can show it. And if you're able to do the same by showing and what you love and expressing that in so many different ways that people can understand and gravitate to it, this is why communities grow. I even had this conversation with someone about there's no category for the big girls out in this community. So I'm like, well, in order for that to happen, you have to be the one that started. You have to go up to the community itself and say, hey, there's a category that's missing. I want to participate. I know I can do it. I know if I do it, it can get someone else interested who may want to participate but may not know how. So if I was to give any advice to the Korean scene, is like, yes, ballroom is not just about voguing. There's so many other categories that are there. Although voguing is an exciting category, but it's bigger than just Vogue. It's bigger than just me as a person. It's your contribution of how you are to make it what it is. And if this is a safe space for you, you can make it a safe space for everyone if you're able to contribute to it the best way. And the best way is making sure that you stick to the categories, stick to the formula. And if there's a category that you want to help innovate or add, because you can have a category here that we don't have back in the States that you can create, and that can help create it for the world. So if you love it just as much, you can be as innovative too. We don't say goodbye, we say I see you later. And you'll say goodbye, you'll know where you can. But what I'm saying is we say see you later. And what I mean is, like, if you believe and you have faith that this community is of some service to you, and it's so interesting how I could say everybody have experienced ballroom in some type of way. And I'm happy that either you've experienced and don't do no more, or you're just now getting the experience and you're trying to jump in, or you are of the culture. My thing is, if I say anything or if I want to give any advice, I would just say continue to do what you do, and if you're going to contribute to it, be your best self. Do the best you can do, and don't let nobody tell you you can't. But if you know you can innovate and change and shift, and what I mean by shift into making it better is that's the best you can do it. Give it, serve it, because you're the one. And no Sade. And if you have any questions, you can ask the icon anything, because he'll answer your questions. But if I don't have any answers for it, I'm sure I could just guide you in a perfect direction to make sure you get the answers that you are seeking. Definitely, no matter where you're from.